Welcome to Real Talk with Reginald D. I'm your host, Reginald D. Today's guest is someone whose journey goes far beyond entertainment. Michelle Delamor. Michelle first captured national attention as a finalist on American Idol, but instead of chasing fame as the final destination, she chose something deeper: impact, transformation, and purpose. Michelle is a singer, the co-founder of Sonic God Studio, and creator of 60-Day Hustle, an innovative reality series on Amazon Prime Video that helps entrepreneurs build real businesses in real time while aligning purpose with growth. She's also a founder of No Girl Left Behind, a powerful movement that has empowered tens of thousands of women across the country. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you. What a beautiful intro.
Thank you. So, Michelle, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and where you grew up?
Oh, my childhood. Yes, I grew up in Miami. I had quite I would say, very loving, awesome childhood that I'm very grateful for. My parents kind of traveled a lot. My dad was a painter and artist. I say was, he actually is. He still is an artist. And my mom managed that business. And so we grew up kind of, my sister and I, half homeschooled, half public schooled, and we would travel and kind of grew up around artists. And it was a very interesting, I guess, unique way to grow up, but it was so awesome. And it formed a lot of what I understood about entrepreneurship, seeing my parents like grow a business and, my dad be an artist and them figure it out and all of that. Yeah. But Miami 305, that's where I'm from. I love my city. It's been the best. And yeah, that was my childhood.
Exactly. You got to love Miami.
Yeah, Miami's the best. We were just there recently and it gets more and more special. I lived in like Miami Shores when I was really little. And then when I was about 11 or so, we moved to Miami Beach. And so I grew up, basically from there until adulthood in Miami Beach.
So, Michelle, many people know you from American Idol. Can you share a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, yes, it's quite the journey. It's such a journey. So I always knew since the time I was little that I wanted to be a singer, and I grew up singing in church, and that was such a big part of my foundation. And I love music, and anytime I closed my eyes and imagine what my life would look like, I was on a stage singing in front of people. Like that was my dream. And so a little bit after high school, like shortly after high school, I kind of got thrust into the entertainment industry truly with like my first kind of deal and that sort of thing. And it was such a big learning for me. And I was able to get out of the contract that we were in. And my sister was like, Michelle, listen, if something big doesn't happen by the time American Idol comes around, like I'm gonna need you to do that competition. And I was like, I never even in my life thought I would do something like that ever. But it's my sister. And she's like, she's my writer. We're always together. She's my best friend. And she also is very involved in my music career. So I was like, all right, I will do it. But I didn't know that it was going to be a month after she said that the auditions were going to come to our city. She let me know that the auditions were happening within a month. And I hid my phone. I tried not to answer the phone to my sister, but I couldn't hide forever. And we signed up and, it was pretty spectacular. The season that I was on, it was at the time the only music singing competition show. It was right before The Voice. The Voice came the year after. And so everybody was tuning into that show. At the time, it was something like 40 million viewers a week watching live. And so it was a pretty big deal. 110,000 people auditioned my year. And in my city alone, it was 11,000 of us. And in the very first audition, they cut it down from 11,000 to 100 of us just in our city, which was just like crazy. It was like a whirlwind. It felt like a circus, everybody with a dream and singing all over the place. And it's like, how are we going to get through this? This is insane. And it was really fascinating. It was months and months of audition processes before you actually hit like what you actually see on TV. Yeah. And I learned so much about myself and I learned so much about kind of entertainment. It's so interesting. I didn't at the time think I was going to one day own and run a studio that was producing TV shows and all of that. I was in it. I was a contestant, but it formed a lot, I think, subconsciously of like, oh, this is what that looks like, and it was really powerful. It was like a boot camp for me, for sure.
Man, I know that was challenging.
It was across the board. You feel the pressure. You have so many people talking about you who have their opinions. I was like, I'm not reading anything. I need to just like shut off. I had people in Miami going to bat for me, defending me. I don't know. I don't even know what y'all are defending. I don't want to hear what people are saying. But, I also had a lot of people that supported me, and Miami really supported me. I didn't expect that from a city. Miami's not like a small town, kind of city. It's a big city. And so to get that kind of love, I really appreciated it. Everyone like really supported me on the show. And it was a lot of pressure, you know, that many people watching, but also having like 4 judges every week as you're singing, they're like talking on stage. It's like, it's so easy to get in your head about it all. And then getting eliminated, that did not feel good, you know? But it was important. It was part of my journey. And then it ended up opening up so many doors. One of the Backstreet Boys, Howie, him and his wife loved me while I was on the show. And so he flew down from Canada and ended up taking me under his wing and introduced me to, all sorts of amazing people in the industry, some great producers. And it was really formative for kind of what happened next in my chapter.
Yeah, because sometimes, well, first of all, in life, you got to understand, you got to blame it on your ride or die sometimes, particularly these situations. I had those kind of guys say, hey, man, they do it. And I'm like, man, what in the world, man? But you got to blame it on the ride or die sometimes.
She was good, though. She got me in it, but it was worth it. It was so worth it.
Yeah, yeah. And it opened up lanes. Sometimes you got to get in one lane to open up another lane for you to go forward.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly. So now, Michelle, now your story has evolved
Yeah.
way far beyond entertainment. At what point did you realize fame wasn't the final destination for your life?
Yeah, so interesting. I think like I hmm I've always felt this like very deep calling that like my life is so much bigger than myself and that impact matters. And impact sounds almost like a generic term. But for me, I always felt like I'm here to do something that actually is going to help people in a really big way. When I was 11 years old, I started studying to become a minister, and I was the only child in that scenario. Everyone else is like adults who are studying to become ministers. At around 12, I moved to a spiritual ashram to dedicate my life to humanitarian work, service, spiritual development. Really grateful that my mom allowed me the opportunity to do that on my own. I had a guardian while I was there, but my mom allowed me to go and have that experience. She's a really phenomenal woman who also instilled a lot of like spirituality in us. And so she let me have that journey. And so I've always known that it's about so much more than fame. And music felt like just something that I loved so much. Where I realized that entertainment actually can be so powerful for impact is actually what happened after American Idol. Because I always actually felt prior to that, I felt like, okay, I know I want to be a singer and I know I want to do really impactful things for people in this planet. I don't know necessarily how the two come together. And that was, me as a kid, kind of just like, what is my life going to be? But after I was on American Idol, I had so many girls that reached out to me and talked about a lot of the challenges that they were going through, feeling depressed, feeling alone, feeling suicidal for whatever reason. They felt compelled to share that with me. And so I was like, oh my God, if this is coming to me, it's for a reason and I need to do something about this. And so I created my first company, which is No Girl Left Behind, and the social impact company. And, super organic. I was like, you know, I was talking to my sister. I'm reading all these messages. I'm like in tears seeing what some of these people are sharing with me. And I was like, I want to do something about this. And my sister, as always, was like, let's do it. Like, whatever that looks like, let's figure it out. And so we started going to literally like youth detention centers, schools, seeing 10 girls at a time, 15 girls at a time, 20 girls at a time. And it was my sister, myself, and then I recruited a few of my friends. And of course, I had the background and the foundation of all of the kind of work that I had gone through, with the ashram and my mentorships who are motivational speakers and, my mentors and all of that. So I had the foundation to be able to create a program, but it was so organic. It was like very early. But the impact that we were seeing, the way it was transforming people's lives, the way they felt heard and seen and understood and their lives were transforming. We had corrections officers that were like, I don't know what you did, but they are different. And so I was like, what would it look like for us to reach so many more people? And that's when we birthed the No Girl Left Behind tour. And at that point, we were seeing like 20, 30, maybe at max 100 girls at a time. When we did the tour, we started seeing thousands of girls at each event.
Wow.
And so it was, I didn't even know, can it translate? Like, can the impact that is so intimate in a room with, a group of us and we're having this very intimate moment, can it translate on a stage with thousands of people in an audience? And I remember the very first event that we did, we actually shut down a high school and we took the entire female population. And after the fact, the counselors at the school said 4 girls came to them and said they decided not to take their life because they had that experience. And I was like, this is powerful. Like, this works. And so the way that that was crafted, it was very much like entertainment meets impact. I would start the whole thing with like music and I would perform and I have my dancers and that gets everybody engaged and they're like into it. And then we would get real and you have thousands of girls in a room and you got a mic and we're all sharing a very like connected experience around the challenges that they're going through and just feeling like, oh, wait, I'm not the only one going through that created such a sense of like unity and of healing actually that took place. And that was the moment that clicked for me like, whoa, like entertainment was the vehicle that opened up these people to have the transformation. And so I was like, what would it look like to actually create a vehicle that is sustainable financially enough to create the level of impact that I want to create in the world? And that was kind of the beginnings of Sonic God Studios. I mean, there's an in between that we can get into between that and then how we shifted into it. But, you know, it's kind of been the thesis and the heart of what we've built here. It's like entertainment for good and utilizing entertainment as something that can inspire people and move people.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that because I was a part of an outreach thing. My grandfather, my whole family, but my grandfather was the one. He built his own churches, all this stuff. And he left the church to my cousin and some other
Wow.
pastors that he had along the way. But the one that my cousin, he's a pastor for 33 years now. And it's like we started this outreach ministry, I said, all right, I'm going to do outreach work. And man, when we hit the streets, it was like, transitional housing and all that kind of stuff. They had their own agenda, I felt. And
Interesting.
when we started pouring into these young guys that was living in these transition houses, they started moving out, getting their own place. A lot of them went back to their families, to their wives and everything. They come out of prison, whatever the case may be, about addiction. And I can't tell you how many phone calls I got for somebody's wife I never met. It was like, I don't know what y'all did. He said, but I got a changed husband, and
Wow.
their family is good. The kids are good. Everybody's good. He's a changed man. So that, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't buy that.
It is incredible and so amazing that like you've walked that path too. The very first event that we ever did for No Girl Left Behind is actually with like a transitional housing organization. But the way it happened was I met this woman. She had the most incredible story and you've helped these men that have gone through this so you understand this. This woman, she basically her name is Susan. She basically had a great life. She had a great career and unfortunately a police officer accidentally killed her 6-year-old son. And it put her into a spiral, like complete spiral. And she got into drugs and all sorts of things in the streets. And I mean, what a contrast of the life and the path that she was on. And she ended up in prison. She ended up in jail. And so the challenges, as you know, because you've worked in this and you've helped in that area, is the system isn't really set up for you to thrive once you've been in jail. And so she came back out and she ended up falling back into the same patterns because it was the only place that would accept her. And so she went in and out of jail, in and out of jail. That was the pattern until one woman took her in and said, like, I want to help you. And she helped her get a job and she helped her get set up. And Susan decided that she was going to, help women for the rest of her life. That was going to be her calling. And so I met her and I heard her story. And so I talked to her about what I was planning on doing. And she said, why don't you do your first one with me? I have women that are going to come out. And when I tell you, there were some women that had been in prison for 10 years, had just gotten out for 2 hours and came straight to my workshop. And, we walk in there, my best friends and I, with glitter boxes, lavender outfits. Like, they're like, who are you? Stop. Who are you? Okay, what is this? And, it was so powerful because by the end of it, they felt so heard and loved and seen and important. And it transformed them. And that was like so important. So, to your point, I know that there may be some that have like agendas and things like that, but wow, like what an important space to not forget these people who actually want a second chance, who want another opportunity, a great life. And it was one of the most remarkable, memorable experiences that I'm so honored to have been a part of. And yeah, it was actually like the beginning of No Girl Left Behind for us.
Yeah, the thing about it, I think you have to think broad sometimes. I tell people a lot of times, they listen to me, they say, okay, you're in all these countries and everybody listens to you in all these countries, your podcast is ranking in all these countries. But the thing about it, I always tell the story. I said, I've been around generations of pastors,
Mhm.
preachers, all that stuff. I've been in church. Man, I heard so much word, it's crazy. But you know who changed my life? I took the time and went downtown one time and sat on the bench with a homeless guy. Didn't know nothing about him,
Mm.
you know, and I think we had a hot dog.
Mhm.
And this guy started talking to me, man, messed me up. I've
Wow.
never been the same.
Wow. That's amazing. It's amazing. You live it. You know it. It's in your heart. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, it's been a lot of like, I would say the heart of what we're building as a company, you know? And then you got to find ways to pair and put like financial stability and sustainability for a thriving, growing business that can allow you to create the level of impact that you want to create. And that groundwork can sometimes, take a while and take you out of the direct impact while you're building. And that was the challenge for me because what happened was we were doing No Girl Left Behind and we're seeing all these people and the impact is incredible. And I mean, I had so much energy. I could be awake for days at a time. I was fueled by the mission, And COVID then happened. At that point, we had mapped out. I spent 2 years with a team mapping out a tour to see 1 million girls across the nation, and it was such an undertaking. We had all these, things in place, and then COVID happened. And everybody has their own version of what happened when COVID happened, the pandemic. And for me, it was so incredibly heartbreaking. And I had to look at, okay, like what does this look like now? Like the dream is not over, but what does the new reimagined version of it look like? When I was doing No Girl Left Behind, I had so many amazing brands that were partnering with us, sponsoring our tours and things like that. And so I learned a lot about partnerships. And that was the way that we were growing that. And so with that, my husband and I really joined forces. And he was a film composer and a music producer. And then he had started the beginnings of a media company. And we joined forces and we kind of really sparked this, what was originally an advertising agency, just because of all the brand relationships we had, which grew really fast. And we were doing all sorts of campaigns and everything. But that wasn't really like our purpose or our heart or, where we wanted to really place our life effort, our life force. But it was so important. It was 3 years of growing that because like what ended up happening is we learned so much about what matters to executives, like marketing executives, what matters to these brands to really create ROI and value for them that then we can implement when, into the impact that we want to create. And so we joined forces with one of my husband's best friends who's a film and TV producer. And we started Sonic God Studios, which is our company now. It's an entertainment studio. We develop mainstream TV shows in partnerships with the various networks and streamers. And we have entire like ecosystems, digital as well, around those IPs. And it's all rooted in the pursuit of greatness and inspiring people. And it's good entertainment. Like we want people to be at the edge of their seats watching our content, but also I want you to like finish watching our content and be like, man, I could do it. Like whatever that dream is, like, okay, like I got this. I'm ready to go. And that's kind of the essence of what we're building.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you combine media, entrepreneurship, and purpose through 60-day hustle.
Yes. Yes.
Can you tell us about the 60-day hustle and what inspired you to create a reality series that actually builds businesses instead of just creating drama?
Totally. I mean, that's something that we've gotten so much of people saying they love the show so much. And even people that have been in the entertainment and TV space for a long time that they're like, whoa, like the fact that you were able to achieve that without fabricating like the drama and like, it's not about that. For us, we wanted to create something that was a platform to help accelerate people's dreams while creating so much entertainment and education for the audience at home as well. And 60 Day Hustle is a business competition show. And we take young entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs, and they come in and they compete. They compete for a chance to win $100,000, but they also get these amazing resources and mentorship from just absolute like legends and experts in different areas of business. And then there's guest judges who are founders of some of the biggest brands in the world who are guest judges on the show. And it's really incredible to see the growth that happens. We have had some people on the show who made in a 4-day sales challenge on the show more money than they made the entire year prior because of how much the show pushes them and teaches them. And so you actually watch these entrepreneurs grow and you experience the ups and the downs and then you get those takeaways for yourself that you can implement and whatever that dream is for you. There's takeaways for everyone. So it's been such a thrilling ride to have created that show, to see the format now actually thrive and expand. Season 2 came out in February and it's done incredibly well. We're now moving into season 3, which we're very excited about. People love the show and we just announced that it's going global. So we are doing the Asian version in Singapore. We are going to be expanding in other territories as well, which will be announced very soon. And the full circle moment here that is just so cool is that, when season 1 came out, it got on the radar of a company called Fremantle. Fremantle are the company that owns American Idol, America's Got Talent, Family Feud, so many big formats, and around the world. And we inked a partnership. And now the same company that owned the show that I was a contestant on is a partner of ours as we expand 60 Day Hustle across the globe. So you never know how it's all going to come together. And it's so beautiful to watch it unfold.
Absolutely. So, Michelle, let me ask you this. What's one conversation or moment from 60 Day Hustle that deeply impacted you emotionally?
Oh, wow. Oh my god, honestly, I get very attached to our contestants. I'm very invested, I experience it, like, very 360 because 'cause I'm a co-creator of the show, I'm in the behind the scenes, I'm also a co-host of the show, so I'm on stage with them, and I'm seeing it all happen, and I would say we had a really amazing moment in season 2 where the entrepreneurs sat down. It was after the first round of eliminations, and they all sat down with this incredible I'm like, "What do I even call him?" He's like force in the world. Like, he basically is like a guide, a coach for CEOs at a very high level. His name is Saniga Street, and they sat down with him to have a real conversation around finances and what it would take to get to the next level. And this is actually something that, we collaborated on with one of our brand partners, Chime, the bank, who we were like, what is the thing that matters so much, the conversation that needs to be had to help them get to the next level? And that's where I really got to know the stories of some of these people. There's this girl, Cheyenne Brown from Compton, and she talked about what she's really fighting for and why she's in this competition. And, she grew up living in a one-bedroom place, sharing a room with 10 cousins, sharing a bed with 10 cousins. And, like, she says it herself, she's like that rose that came up under the concrete. Her and her mom were just, like, figuring it out. And to see her then, to know that about her and to see her hustle and thrive and, like, push and learn and fall and learn. And you see her journey on the show. And she did phenomenally well. I want to say, the show came out and people love this girl. She sold about 10,000 units after the show came out of her product. And this is an early stage company, I should say. So everyone knows the company is called Fun Diggity Funnel Cakes. She does a funnel cake mix that people just fell in love with and it tastes so good. But it's for me, there's so many moments. There's so many moments where I'm just like getting to know the entrepreneurs where I'm seeing them absolutely like push and give their whole everything to make it to the next level. And, I root for them and I get pretty close to these people. We have another girl who wrote me the kindest handwritten letter after the show and shared with me about how much it completely changed her life, like being on the show. Her name is Rachel, and she's doing amazing also post season 2. And yeah, I just get really proud of all of them.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I mean, sometimes I think servanthood is just built in you.
Yeah.
People always ask me a lot of times the stories, all the things that I've been through, and all the people I've mentored. And I spoke at this men's conference, and this young man came up to me and he was like, I'm going through a lot. He said, but I'm going to tell you something. He said, I don't have anywhere else to go. But what you talked about life, you poured into us. And he said, I got to go that direction. So I kind of mentored him and we went up and down, up and down, up and down. And then one time I was speaking out of town and got a phone call from somebody that knew I was connected with. So he's giving up, man. He just like give it up. So I go to his apartment about midnight or something like that, banging on the door. He opened the door. He's like, man, what's wrong with you? I said, no, we ain't doing this. I said, I'm gonna lay on your couch until you figure it out. He's like, man, you can't lay on my couch. I'm gonna lay here. So I think I laid there till the next morning. He said, you still here? I was like, yeah, we're gonna make it. But young man is a senator right now.
Wow. What a
Yeah, for South
story.
Carolina. Yeah.
Oh, you must feel so proud. What beautiful impact like you're having as well.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. Yes. So never take your work, lightly. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, that's where I
Yeah.
look at it. So what does serving others teach you that success in entertainment never could?
It's so interesting because I feel like the two go so hand in hand. I've kind of turned them into like this super force, serving others, having purpose at the center of what we do, and utilizing entertainment and business as a vehicle to be able to create that impact. And I think you kind of need both, The entertainment what entertainment does is it gives you like a way bigger megaphone and a bigger arena to actually make even more impact. And business allows you to have the level of wealth and financial kind of infrastructure to be able to support the impact you want to have. So to me, they go so hand in hand. I think more than what it's taught me on the service side, it's like been embedded in me. It's like my driving force. And now I'm using the other side to do more of the service work. I think I had to almost pull back a little bit to spend more time on the business. It's almost felt like a step backwards so that I could do more impact. And I'll tell you, like, that was really painful for me. Like, that period of time when I was on stage, No Girl Left Behind, seeing thousands of girls, like just so fueled by all of the impact. And then going into, okay, now I need to grow a business that has the foundation to really support the level of impact I want to create. It's a different thing when you're there. It's like new, you're building, you're not seeing the direct immediate impact. I literally felt like I was having a little identity crisis for a moment. I'm like, I just want to be out there. I just want to like be out there. But years later, because it takes years, and you think it's going to happen next week. Years later, we now have a platform that is still growing, our company, that allows us to do so much more good in the world, that allows us to play on a way bigger stage. But man, that took so much of like hardcore dedication and pulling myself out of, just like the on the ground service work that I so deeply love so that we can do more.
Yeah, I mean, sacrifices come both sides,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can stay doing one thing, but when it's time to shift, you got to know when to shift.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I tell everybody. It's one of those things you set the ground when people, have been touched by you, but then there's a thing called business.
Yeah.
That if you can't grow the business aspect of it, you can't go back and pull anybody else up in a multitude of way that you're doing it,
Yeah.
and
Totally.
so
Totally. And just like for me, it's like, I know that I'm here to do something that is much greater than me. I'm always like, my mantra is like, use me, God, let it be your will. Like, I am your vessel. And like, that's how I'm always thinking. And, it's like when the way doesn't feel super clear, but I know what the outcome is. I'm just like trusting so much that everything is going to fall into place as long as I keep pushing forward and forward and even to the point of some of the things that almost feel uh gosh, it almost feels like destiny, like what's happening with Fremantle, like I mentioned, with the full circle moment, or, some of the other huge relationships and opportunities and things that are happening and what we're building. It's all, I would say, God conspiring, right? Like it's tied to the purpose. And so, even when it looks like a little cloudy, to keep pushing forward, you're going to start to see a really beautiful picture form.
yeah, absolutely. So, what's the difference between inspiring people and actually helping them change?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I think change is at a personal level. I really believe that you have to do the work yourself to make the change. And so I think if I can create, or we, or, as at least in my purpose, if I can create the space to inspire and a space for transformation, and people want to step in and experience that and take the action required for the change, like that's really it. Because you can't change anyone really. And it's more sometimes about widening us perspective, and sharing possibility. I always think about, for me, our whole thing is like we want to inspire possibility in people. Sometimes you're so here that it's hard to see like all of the good and all the possibility and all that you can become and all that you can accomplish when you're just here in survival, struggling in your head, going through all these things. But actually, and I don't always have, by the way, when I say I don't have all the answers, I just want my life to be used as a source of inspiration with all the work that I do, with the platforms that we're building with content, that if it can help inspire people to see like, oh my gosh, like I saw these people on this show that literally came from nothing or are going through the same challenges that I thought were impossible to get over, but they're accomplishing this. And you're also giving me the roadmap to get there. Okay, I want to take action. Like that's what a show like 60 Day Hustle does. So yeah, I think you kind of need that inspiration to even get up to do the thing. And then, I'm like, I'm putting my hand out, but you gotta like, we gotta hold hands together, and you gotta take the action. And same for me, there's a lot of things that like inspire me. If I'm down or if I'm like, feeling any kind of way, I am very intentional about putting things that are going to get me in the zone, get me in the space to be able to lift myself back up. And so I appreciate the people that do that for me, and whether if it's media, mentors, all of it, I appreciate all of it. So it's just like a cycle of generosity.
Yes, so I got a question for you, Michelle. I'll throw this at you real quick.
Yeah.
So was there a point in your life when you was like, I've been there, man. Like, I can't do this. I think I'm
Mm.
gonna fail.
Mm.
Did you ever feel that way? And what did you do to overcome it? I know I had a grandfather because I was born, with a single parent home, and my grandfather kind of mentored me all my life. And his mentoring, he owned all his stuff and he ran all his own stuff. Boy, you better not fail. That was that. And I thought, okay, I got to figure it out. So was there the point of your life where you felt like, man, this is not going, I feel like it may not work. I'm nervous. And then what made you overcome that fear and keep pushing through?
I think for me, I have this sense of it's almost like irrational belief that what that vision is going to happen. So I haven't necessarily felt like I am going to fail, but what I have felt is this this all of my life I have felt this very very deep knowing that I was going to do something really big in entertainment, and my lens was that it would be through music. And the transition from doing No Girl Left Behind and playing at that big stage after American Idol and doing No Girl Left Behind, seeing thousands of people, everything is growing, and then boom. And then it taking years to of feeling like, who am I? What am I? I think I almost felt like, did I? Did like, did I fail? Like, it wasn't even like, will I fail? It was like, did I already fail? I thought literally was like, I knew I was gonna accomplish this. I don't what how did this happen? Because it felt like it was taking so long to see through the blurriness between being on the stage and then now what we're doing, where it all has come together and is still continuing to reveal itself. I think the hardest thing for me was when my family and everybody who has been so supportive of my journey since I was a little kid. Everybody's known I was going to make it. And literally, when I moved out to LA, 13 family members and friends moved out with me when I came to American Idol, and the city turns up and everybody talks about that. And then people started talking about it as a thing of the past. And it was so painful. It was like, when you were this, when you were a singer, when you used to be in the industry, or when you used to do, and it was like, I'm still that person. And I remember nobody meant it as a bad thing, but it's like, oh, but it's not just 2 months ago you were doing that. It's like 3 years ago you were doing that. But it's because it took that long that I had to put myself in this deep bubble trying to build this thing that was still kind of muddy. And can I make it? And it was so hard and it was so new that I literally felt like I lost the identity of who I actually believed myself to be my entire life. And that was so disappointing. It's like, how? Everything that I thought would happen for myself, how? And honestly, I spent I would cry, and I didn't want anybody to know that I was crying. I didn't want my husband to know. He's amazing and so supportive, but we're building this thing on this side together, and it's like he can't know that I'm feeling like this. That's how I felt. I know he would have loved to have been able to support me in that time, but I kind of needed to go on that journey myself. And I kinda I had this revelation in the shower. Showers always give me little insights. But I remember I was, in a shower, and I saw this, very clear, vivid, almost like it was like a download. And what it felt was there's this big ocean, and this is gonna sound very, abstract, but this is what I saw, and it actually felt like it healed me in that moment because I was like, I freaking lost it. I don't know who I am now. And so I was in the shower, and I saw this big ocean. I saw drops of water that go into the ocean, and each of those drops represent each of us, the human collective. And some people, the drop will go in, and that drop will create a little ripple, and that ripple is important. That ripple is affecting people and impacting people. It's like a ripple effect. And some people, their drop will go in and it'll create a tsunami wave of impact. But the only way that you can actually make that tsunami wave of impact happen is you have to have the level of influence and the megaphone that's big enough to even create that. You have to put yourself in a state physically and mentally and spiritually that you can sustain the level of energy required to create that level of impact. And then the third thing was I needed to, and what I saw was the level of wealth to be able to have the financial infrastructure or the financial infrastructure to be able to actually build that level of impact. And in that moment, it healed me. It was like, hold on, hold on, hold on. I've been a little bit I've been super down because I'm not here doing this impact and because I'm not the artist singing on stage that I had been all my life. But actually, I'm building this pillar of financial infrastructure to do this at the highest level. And in that moment, that urgency that felt like my time is running out actually turned into I'm building something very important. And yes, this might take some years, but I'm going to give it everything. And it's helped me and it's guided me because it's, we want things to happen overnight and it doesn't always happen that way. So to your question, have I ever felt the feeling of like, will I fail and what did I do? Like, I actually thought I failed. And it was like, I was going down like a deep, dark hole about it and like super down. And the thing that helped me was still waking up every day and putting one foot in front of another and praying and just being like, I'm alive. I'm here. I know my purpose is big. Please reveal it. Just like reveal it. Like, because right now I'm feeling very lost. And I feel like I got that revelation that day in the shower. And now it's like, I get it. I never used to focus on finances, by the way. I'm always purpose first. But I had to understand, like, right now is the season to build the business. And that season of building the business is going to help you do all of this. And it just healed me. So, yeah, quite the journey of an answer that I just gave you there. But that's the experience that I had.
Yeah, it's all about the purpose and the process at the end of
Yes.
the day.
And the
It's a
process doesn't
process.
always look great.
Oh, it's ugly sometimes.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
So, Michelle, I have what I call quick fire questions.
Let's do it.
All right. Give me one word that describes your journey.
Oh, wow. Resilient.
Okay. What keeps you grounded during pressure?
What keeps me grounded during pressure is a deep faith that I'm going to get on the other side of it and a deep belief in my vision.
Okay. Got it.
And by the way, prayer with my mom and sister. I'm going to just say, like, every time it's getting real heated, I'm like, Mom, Charlotte, my sister, I'm like, we need to do a little prayer, a little meditation. Like,
The prayer warriors.
yeah, they are. They really are. Like, my mom knows everything that's going down, and my sister too. And we're in there in the text, and I'm like, hold on, I'm about to step in. I'm going to need some prayers. And that helps me a lot for sure. I'm very grateful for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What does true purpose mean to you?
I think true purpose is allowing your life to be used at the highest extent to impact as many people as possible. I really believe that. And that can look different ways for different people. But just knowing that it's about more than just you, there's a ripple effect that takes place. But I would say it's like we all have like, even if it feels super buried and you almost can't access what that might be, there's like this thing that burns in your heart of like, oh, this desire, this joy, this bubbling that happens of something that feels like it's yours to bring into the world, whatever that looks like. I think that's an indication of purpose. And when you can couple that with having it be a vehicle that actually impacts people, to me, that's purpose. Yeah, that's what I like dedicate my life to.
Okay. What's one belief you had to unlearn?
You know what's a belief I had to unlearn that I didn't even realize I had? It actually was around money. I didn't even know that I had this issue, which was I went to like a Tony Robbins event years ago, and he has this really powerful exercise that like unleash the power within. I don't know if you've ever gone, but it's phenomenal. He has this really amazing kind of exercise that he does that it kind of goes deep into you and the things that are like blocking you with beliefs and stuff. And I didn't even realize that I had this like subconscious feeling of like, impact and good and service coupled with money was not a good thing. And when I realized that, it allowed me to be like, oh, that's interesting. I don't really like talking about money, but actually I need to talk about money. Like, so that's a belief that definitely did not serve me that I didn't even realize I had because I honestly don't know where that came from because it wasn't ingrained from my upbringing or my mom or anything like that. I think it just felt a little mushy, like a little, oh, like, how do you mix those two worlds? But the two worlds need to come together fully. And so, yeah, that's something that I was able to overcome.
Yes, exactly. That's so true. That is so true. So, Michelle, lastly, what's one message you want every young woman to hear today?
Oh, I would just say, one, your life matters and you are here for something so meaningful, so special, so beautiful that is uniquely yours. And, whatever that dream is, whether if that's something that you already know what it is or that you're discovering what it is, you have the ability to make that happen, to build the arena for yourself, to collaborate with others to make it happen. But you have everything within you to achieve whatever that dream, that vision of yours is. One thing that I early on, in my journey, a lot of it was like hoping that people that had so much experience would come in and join me or help me or open doors for me. And I learned very early on that I had to build the doors myself. And we all have the capability to build those doors, all of us. Everybody's figuring it out. So why not you? So that's been like such a message in my own mind that has allowed me to open the doors that I've been opening and continue to open as well. It's like, why not me? I'm going to figure it out. We got this. Like everybody's figuring it out. We got a vision. It's very clear. Let's do it. So that would be my message. What's in your heart matters and you're capable.
Yes, I like that. And we got to figure it out. I like that part. Because here's
And we
the
always
thing.
can.
Yeah, because here's the thing. In life, sometimes you'll be chasing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to chase what it is. But there's a time in life you got to quit chasing and you got to become it.
Yes.
Whatever your destiny is, your purpose is you got to become it instead of chasing it one day. So, but why not you, right?
Totally. I love that.
So, Michelle, how can listeners learn more about No Girl Left Behind and Sonic Gods Entertainment and learn more about 60-Day Hustle and follow your journey on social media?
Thank you. Yes. Well, I would say you can follow me at Michelle Delamor. Delamor is spelled Delamor. Michelle with two L's and an E. So Michelle Delamor, and I'll be posting a lot of what we have going on across the board with everything. Sonic Gods, our company is sonicgods.media. And then 60-Day Hustle, which has so much momentum and joy. Definitely check it out. It is out on Prime. Season 2 is out on Amazon Prime now. And follow the Instagram. There's so much amazing content. People are loving the content on there, the mentorships, the lessons. Everything is on there too. So 60-Day Hustle on Instagram would be a great place to get started. And of course, watch the show. Let me know what you think. People are hitting me up all the time, telling me their thoughts, and I'm up in there like writing back. I love hearing from the people. So if you watch the show, definitely reach out. I want to hear from all of you.
Absolutely. There you have it, Michelle Delamore. Michelle, you are so remarkable. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you built different. You built different, which is a good thing.
Oh, I
Which is a good
appreciate
thing.
it. I appreciate it. This was so awesome. And thank you so much for the conversation, and hearing your journey too was so cool. Like you've been down the path, and I'm very inspired also from everything you shared.
Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to Real Talk Reginald D. If you enjoyed listening to Real Talk Reginald D, please rate and review on Apple Podcasts. See you next time.